Get ready and let's build your B2B website structure together step by step. You're not going to need any fancy tools for this. You're just going to get a clear, simple plan that you can actually use for any size business. If you're creating a website, then building your website structure is the very first step that you cannot skip, because your website structure, which is called the sitemap, affects everything: your user experience, your SEO, and whether your leads convert or bounce. Think of it like building a house. Now, you don't just grab some lumber and start hammering away. You create a blueprint first. How many rooms? How will they connect? How will people enter? You want to have all this laid out first before you start building, and the same goes for your website. So before you start designing, before you start writing any content, let's build your B2B website sitemap. Hello, I am Robin, your B2B marketing bestie. I led strategy at one of the top B2B website agencies, and I have created hundreds of these sitemaps, all designed for a great user experience and ultimately to generate leads. Now, there's a couple things you should know before we start building. Number one, what is a sitemap exactly? So a sitemap is a hierarchical outline of all of the pages on your website and how they relate to each other or how they link to each other. So if you look at it, it looks like an organizational chart with the home page always at the top. Then the next level is your first level pages, which serves as your main navigation typically. Then you've got your second level pages below that, and then sometimes it drills down to the third and sometimes even fourth level pages. So we're basically going from the more general to the more specific. And number two, a sitemap is similar to your navigation, but they're not exactly the same. So the navigation on your website is what site visitors see, and they use it to navigate from one page to the next on your website. And it may or may not include all the pages on your sitemap. On the other hand, your sitemap is more of an internal document that includes all of the pages on your website. So say if you have 100 website pages, they will all go on your sitemap, but they may not all go on your navigation because that may just be too much for the navigation. And the exception is blog posts. You don't need to include every single blog post on your sitemap. And then number three, and this is a big pro tip, your sitemap should be boring. What I mean by that is that you don't want to really get creative and go kind of crazy with your sitemap. It's a functional tool and it needs to be very intuitive and easy to use because a lot of the pages on your sitemap will go on your navigation. So like I said, this is not the time to be creative. When you name your pages, just give them standard names that you would see similar to other websites. There are certain standards that website visitors have come to expect, and if you make them try to guess, then you might lose them. So products are just called products, not something like our innovative wares. You can get creative with your design, but not with a usability tool like your navigation. All right, that's enough preamble. Let's do the darn thing. All right, so for this tutorial, I'm going to be using an app called SlickPlan. It is a sitemap building tool. You do not need to use this. You can use almost anything. You can use Figma, PowerPoint, Canva, Word. Heck, you could even use an old-fashioned pencil and paper if that's your jam. I'm down with old school. So we're going to start from the top, and your first page is always going to be your home page here. So no matter what the size of your website is, you always need a home page. And by the way, I'm building this structure so that no matter where you are, whether you're just getting started with your first website and just need to put something up, or you're further along and have more content, you'll know exactly what pages you need for your stage. So I'll walk you through how your sitemap should grow as your business grows. So homepage first, and let's say you're super new startup and you just need some kind of online presence for now and aren't ready to build out the full website. You can start with just a homepage, but you'll want to include all the pertinent content on it. So your value proposition, products and services overview, credibility builders, and then the other page that you will want is your contact page. So let's enter that here, contact. But again, this is for when you are just starting out. You don't want a one-page site for too long. Eventually, sooner rather than later, you're going to want to build this out further. So let's keep going. So next, we're going to build out the first level pages. And these are typically the pages that will appear on your main navigation at the top of your website. So what you choose here is very important. And keep in mind that these are just pages. This is not all of the content on your site, just the pages. Your content is what will go on these pages. So people read from left to right. So we want to put the most important page here on the left. And it's typically going to be your products page. Or if you're a services-based business, your services page. So this is typically the most visited page on your site after the home page. Okay, so we got homepage, products, and contact for now. Then you're going to want somewhere for your thought leadership content to go. So your blogs, your videos, your guides and ebooks, etc. And typically we'll call this resources. So let's enter resources here. You can also call this insights or knowledge hub. I've seen that as well. Resources is pretty standard. Can't go wrong with that. This deserves a place on your first level navigation as well because it's going to filter down to the individual content types. And then next we're going to want an about or a company page. And this is actually more important than you think, especially for small businesses. A lot of people actually visit this page. They want to know what you're all about. They want to know your story. They're going to want to know why you exist. So having an about page is really important too. Now, if you are still pretty small and just starting out but need something beyond just a homepage, this is a pretty decent place to be for like a starter website. If you don't have any thought leadership yet, you could hide this resources page and then add it later when you start developing more thought leadership content. But if you need a little more, let's keep going. So maybe your product or service can be used for different types of buyers or different use cases, and you want to address them. So for example, and I'm actually going to hop over to a couple different sites as examples. So Copper, for example, has industries here. So they're listing how different industries use their products. So agencies, consulting, corporate development, media and creators, etc. Maybe you're targeting specific industries and this gives them confidence that you have worked with their industry before and that this product is right for them. Okay, so taking it a step further, Full Story has solutions in the main navigation or that first level here. And the drop-down menu that you see, it separates by use case and by industry as well. So use cases are kind of like different applications of the product. So for example, they could use it to refine funnels. They could use it to resolve errors, to centralize data, to automate analysis, etc., etc. And then of course, they've got the industries over here on the right. So taking it a step further is Asana. So they've got solutions here in their main navigation, and solutions is kind of a common catch-all term that we see a lot. And then they have their whole menu of solutions, which includes a lot more. So in this case, company type, teams, industries, and use cases. So they've really built this out further. So you can really build this out as much or as little as what's appropriate for your business. On our sitemap, I'm going to go back there. I'm just going to include solutions. But this could be industries. If you just want to include industries, that's fine too, just like you saw with Copper. So here we have a solid top level navigation, and maybe you stop here, or maybe we keep going. Now remember, each one of these boxes represents one page. So if you have multiple products, for example, you can list them all on this one page here, but most likely you're going to want to give each product its own page. And of course, it makes sense to list these as sub pages or child pages under this products page. So we can go product 1, maybe you've got another product, product 2, and then maybe you've got 3 products, product 3, however many products you've got here. And then for solutions, let's just say you want to do industries at first. So we'll just change this to industries for now. Industries, okay. And you can do like healthcare, finance, technology, maybe insurance, whatever your industries that you serve. And again, you can just list all of the industries on this one page here, or you can build out separate pages for them like this. And search engines typically like to see their own individual pages, so it could help you there. And sometimes people like to search by their industry as well. So this can be an advantage. Okay, so now let's say you want to include industries and use cases. So let's change this back to solutions. And then we're going to add industries here. We're going to include these as subpages of industries. So we can move that here. This tool is so nice. And then we're going to add use cases. So see what we did. We've got now industries is that second level, and then we've got the individual industries as third level, and then use cases is our second level 2 page. And then we can add the use cases underneath. So whatever they are, use case 1, use case 2. All right, so you get the idea. Okay, then for resources, let's build this out. So maybe you've got a blog, maybe you've got some videos, maybe you've got some ebooks and guides. So these would all go under resources, just depending on what you have. If you have more, you could build those out too. And then let's go to about. So maybe you have some subpages here. Maybe you want news. Maybe you've got a partners page. Maybe you've got careers, because you want to attract candidates. And a lot of people want to know what the difference is between blog and news. So typically a blog is where you want to put your thought leadership content. So this is content that is going to be for your target audience. That's going to help them with their jobs, versus news, which is more about company news. So announcements, like if there's been a merger, or if there's an event that you're going to attend and you want to announce that. So that's the difference between blog and news. And then contact usually stands on its own. Now, what you include on your sitemap is going to depend on your business. So in some cases, especially if it's self-service, you'll want a pricing page, and this should go on the main navigation. So it would go here, pricing. Or let's say that you're a creative agency, or maybe a design, architectural design firm or something like that. You want to show your portfolio. You could put your portfolio page that belongs in the main navigation as well. And we lost contact. Okay, there we go. So this is a really solid sitemap right here. And I'd say a really good rule of thumb is to have no more than 6 in the main navigation here. Any more than that, and it's going to start looking cluttered, and it's going to deliver kind of a poor user experience. So I wouldn't go with more than 6, but maybe you have some utility pages. So like login, and this just includes it up here. So maybe login, maybe support or something like that. Maybe you want to offer a free trial. And this is not the way that it's going to look on your website. This is just an internal tool. Once you're designing the website, these may not go exactly here. These may go over here or something like that. So it might be laid out a little bit differently. But this is pretty solid. I think we're in a good spot here. So how did you find that? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And now that we're finished with your sitemap, you want to start building your home page next. And I created a video that shows you the essential elephants. I created a video that showed, oh my God. I created a video that shows the essential elements that you need on your homepage. So click right here and watch that next, and we'll go through it all. So I will see you over there.